Day presented by Credit Karma. It is time to go coast to coast on Monday's action. And we're going to start with the Cavaliers, who beat the Magic by 6, but they lost rookie Evan Mobley to a sprained left ankle. X-rays were negative. That's according to Mobley is averaging 15 and 8 this year. So, Chene, how should Cavs fans be feeling right now?
Oh, they should be happy. X-rays were negative, and that means, ankle rolls. Hopefully he'll be back soon. I know they've been dealing with injury bugs so far later in the season, but I'm not so concerned based on the good news of that prognosis.
All right, well, let's keep it in the East. The Heat, they snapped a 4-game losing streak with a 23-point win over the Kings. Jimmy Butler had 27. Bam added 22 and 15 as the Heat reclaimed the first seed in the East. So, Big Perk, which version of the Heat's up-and-down season is going to show up come playoff time?
The great version of the Heat. Look, they got all the ugly stuff out of the way. Now they're going to look pretty. Now they're going to look pretty when postseason comes.
When it counts. All right, let's stay in the East once more. The Hawks, they beat the Pacers for their 3rd win in their last 4 games, and Atlanta is just a game behind the 8th-seeded Nets to avoid 2 play-in games, and Trae Young had his 2nd straight 15-assist game. So, JJ, are the Hawks a sneaky sleeper to come out of the play-in?
I think so. They made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They're battle-tested. They have one of the best players in the league in Trae Young. They're a sleeper.
All right, well, how about the Nuggets? They beat the Hornets behind another triple-double from Nikola Jokic, his 19th this season, 6 more than any other player in the league. And Denver is 6th in the West. So, Chene, why can't we count out Denver as a title contender?
Because they had less quote-unquote talent this year with Jamal Murray out, Michael Porter Jr. trying to get back. And somehow he's still in the conversations for most valuable player, which is a testament to Nikola Jokic. Anything is possible for how he plays.
He is not just in the conversation. Jokic, the reigning MVP, he claimed 62 of the 100 first-place votes in the 3rd and final iteration of ESPN's MVP straw poll, jumping way ahead, I think it's fair to say, of Joel Embiid with 29 first-place votes, and then Giannis Antetokounmpo with 9 votes. And just a reminder, in this straw poll, our ESPN reporter Tim Bontemps, he simulates the MVP voting. So he asks 100 media members for their top 5 MVP candidates. So in addition to that straw poll, Caesar Sportsbook has just adjusted the NBA MVP odds to make Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid co-favorite. So it had been Embiid, remember. Given all of this, and I would be remiss not to say that adjustment was made after this straw poll came out. So I want to do a little straw poll NBA Today style and make the case for the other guys. We talk a lot about Jokic. We talk a lot about Joel Embiid. So if they finish strong, and just so viewers know, the group text, it was popping off with who's going to make the case for whom. But Perk, I want to start with you and an upset. You wanted to make the case for Giannis. Go ahead.
I do, because I feel like we're getting bored with Giannis and his dominance, right? This is a guy that's averaging 29, 11, and 6, almost 7 assists. And when we look at Giannis, yes, he has Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, which makes it even more impressive because he's able to go get those numbers when he still have 2 all-star caliber players playing alongside of him. And I think we're taking him for granted like we did LeBron James when he was making those runs in the Eastern Conference and he could have won multiple MVPs. It's the same case for Giannis. The Bucks are still at one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and they have been flying under the radar, and Giannis has gotten better.
All right, so I said this was an upset, and that's because you didn't choose Ja Morant. Chiney Agumake did. So what is Ja's case to win MVP, Chiney?
If we're talking about players that have gotten better, I feel like Ja Morant has to be at the top of the list, especially since we said, oh, he's too good to graduate from most improved, Mr. Perk. We've got to put him in most valuable player conversation. This guy, you remember, I got the receipts. 27 and 8 so far this season, about 7 or 8 points more improved from seasons past. And just look at the Grizzlies. What are they, 53 and 23 on the season, the second best record in the NBA. Sometimes you get a shooting star, right? So many stars are out there, but you get a shooting star in an astronomical type of season for the Grizz where we did not see that happening or we did not expect that as much. That's what Ja has done. He's galvanized this group. He's had a dominant season, and I feel like he could steal some MVP votes very easily.
Well, listen up, Suns fans, because JJ is about to make the case for Mr. Devin Booker to be MVP. This. Go ahead, JJ.
The easy answer here is he's the leading scorer on the best team, but it's really, really much deeper than that. He's the 10th player to average at least 25, 5, and 5 on a team with a winning percentage of 800 or better. 8 of those previous 9 players have won MVP. We talk all the time about his clutch time performance. The Suns are 24-5 in clutch games that he plays. He's shooting 57% from the field and 41% from three in clutch time. And perhaps most importantly, everybody thought the Suns were going to fall off when CP got hurt. He went for 28, 5, and 7 and led the Suns to an 8-3 record. Perk makes fun of me all the time because I'm an analytics guy, but I'm also an eye test guy, and my eyes are telling me he's a deserving MVP.
All right, Shanae, you're the queen of, all right, I'm going to give multiple players their flowers here.
I want to do it for all players, but
who else do you got?
I've got Jason Tatum because a lot of times after All-Star break, we see people, Mr. Celtics, we see people really solidify their cases for awards. And Jason Tatum, he's been balling. I mean, 33 points per game, second in NBA, scoring this month of March. And also the Celtics have been surging. It's not easy to revive a franchise that had great expectations mid-season with a first-year coach. And he's really emerged as that quintessential leader for Boston. And so I love to see his development. I love to see, we see these numbers, but now you're seeing him career highs in points, in rebounds, and assists. He deserves to be in the conversation as well.
All right, so we've hit on Jason Tatum, we've hit on John Morant, we've hit on Devin Booker. Obviously, Giannis, Jokic, Joel Embiid. But what about Luka Doncic? And for me, this is the three-pronged reason as to why he should be in the MVP conversation. Number one, he does it all. Luka is the only player in the league right now to average 25, 8, and 8. Number two, he carries this team, and this is what we talk about with Nikola Jokic. This is what we talk about with Joel Embiid when he didn't have Ben Simmons. He is second in the NBA in usage rate. That's behind only Joel Embiid. And reason number three, he impacts winning. When he is on the court, the Mavs win 66% of their games. If you take him off of the floor, it is just not the same team. So because he's able to put this team on his back, I know that the Mavericks, they still have something to prove in the postseason. This is a regular season award, and Luka Doncic is absolutely deserving of being in that conversation. What do you think, Chanae?
Oh, I agree. I just love them. I feel like we Oprah today. You get an MVP. You get an MVP. You get an MVP. I think there are a number of deserving candidates. It's going to be really interesting to see how those votes oscillate, down the stretch. Go ahead, Perk.
You know what I find? You know what I find crazy is that when we look at the MVP conversation right now, and we look at all the MVP candidates and the guys that's supposed to be in the conversation that we consider to be in the conversation, guess what? They're international players. And I remember this summer, I said something about international players are taking over the game of basketball. And one of the current players in Draymond Green had something to say to me. But when you look at the guys who have won the MVPs over the last 3 years, they've been international players. Giannis, Jokic. When you look at guys that have won the Defensive Player of the Year award, it has been Giannis and Rudy Gobert. So to me, when I look at this and we think about Jokic, we think about Embiid, we think about Giannis, we think about Luka. Those are 4 of the top 7 guys in the NBA that are international players that we actually could make a case for winning the MVP. So when I talk about things like this and I say things like that at the moment, people think that I'm crazy. But no, it's really right here in front of your face that the international players are actually taking over the game of basketball.
Well, speaking of international, we're going to